So for our quiz review, I wanted to go over some problems to help you for the test. So first, we're going to have to write some equations based on some pictures. So if I look at this picture, I notice that in the first step, I'm going to write step, and then this is step 1. And then if I just write the number of blocks and count them, there's 1, 2, 3. And then in step 2, if I count the number of blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then step 3, if I count the number of blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, this is an arithmetic sequence. I notice that I am constantly adding 2. So that means my common difference, I can write that variable there, d is 2. Now we're going to focus mainly on our explicit equation. So the explicit equation or formula for an arithmetic sequence is u sub n, or the particular term that we want, is u sub 1, the first term, plus the common difference times n minus 1. So in our equation, we need to substitute u sub 1, which is our first term. So if I look, our first term is 3. So my explicit equation becomes u sub n is 3 plus d, or our common difference, which is 2, and then times n minus 1. So there's my formula. You might also just write that as y equals is fine. So now I need to calculate the 74th term. So what I do there, that just tells me n is 74. So obviously writing down the table to the 74th term is not going to work. So we would just write, well, u sub 74, or the 74th term, is 3, let me just rewrite that, 3 plus 2 times 74 minus 1. Or that equals 3 plus 2 times 73. Now you can use a calculator for 2 times 73. But what I do is I go 2 times 3, well, that's 6. And 2 times 70 is 140. So I have 146 plus my 3, which gives me u sub 74 is equal to 149. So we're going to look at a little bit more challenging of a problem right here. In this arithmetic sequence, I'm going to write again the step 1, and then the blocks is 5. Then if you notice, step 2, 3, 4 are left blank, and step 5 is 17. Well, what we can do to find the common difference is use our idea for slope. So we could treat this kind of like x2, y2, x1, and y1. So our slope formula was y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And that slope is going to be the same as my common difference. So what we type in, or substitute in, is 17 minus 5 over 5 minus 1. And then 17 minus 5 is 12 over 4, and 12 divided by 4 is 3. So my common difference, or my slope here, is 3. And then my formula, I'm just writing the explicit formula here. So u sub n equals u sub 1 plus d, and then times n minus 1. And then I just have to substitute my values for u sub 1 and d. So we have u sub n equals 5 plus 3 times n minus 1. And then if I find the 300th term, I substitute 300 in. So u sub n equals 5 plus 3 times 300 minus 1, or 5 plus 3 times 299. And then what I do is I do 3 times 300, which is 900, and then subtract off 3. So 897 plus 5. And then when I add those, it gives me 902. So u sub n is 902. So now what I'm going to do is write an equation from a table. So in looking at here, I'm going to write this equation in slope-intercept form. So first I'm going to find m. I'm going to use these points. So here is going to be my x1, y1, x2, and y2. So my slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Or in here, -9 minus -1 over 5 minus 1. So this becomes -9 plus 1, which is -8 in the numerator. Then 5 minus 1 is 4, so -8 over 4, and it's going to equal -2. So now I need to find b. So we found m. So my next idea here is to find b. So I know that m equals -2, that x is going to equal 1, and that y is equal to -1. And then I substitute those into y equals mx plus b. So y here, we have -1, is equal to -2 times 1 plus b, or -1 equals -2 times 1 is -2, and then plus b. Now to solve for b, I need to get rid of this -2. So I add 2. And -1 plus 2 gives me 1 is equal to b. And then if you notice, I have b, I have m. So my final step is just to write the equation, y equals -2x plus 1. For this one, I need to find another point on the line. So if you notice here, what I can do is find my slope, which is my rise over my run. So I can take this y point for the rise, 16, and subtract off the 8. And then do my run of my 4 minus 0. And then when I do that, 16 minus 8 is 8 over 4. And then I can reduce 8 divided by 4 is 2 over 1. So that rise means I go up 2 and over 1 to get to the next point. So from 8, 0, I can go up to 1, 2. And then over 1. So another point on the line here is 1 for x and 10 for y. And I can continue that, go up 2 over 1. So another point here, if I wanted to list it, would be 2 for x and 12 for y. I only have to do 1, so I can stop there. And then lastly, if we had to write an equation through the point -1, 3 with a rate of 4, again, we're given x equals -1, y equals 3. This rate means that the slope is 4, so m equals 4. And then we can plug that into y equals mx plus b. And then substituting that, 3 is equal to 4 times negative 1 plus b. So 3 is equal to negative 4 plus b. Then adding 4 to both sides. 3 plus 4 is going to be 7. So b is equal to 7 and m is equal to 4. So my final equation in y equals mx plus b form would be y equals 4x plus 7.